Sarah Vladimir races, and you can too.
Keith Baumgartner races, and you can too.
Jamal Carter races, and you can too.
Evan Hatch races, and you can too.
How many races have you done, Grant?
2.
2?
Yeah.
How you feeling today?
Good.
Yeah?
I'm here for the experience, here to learn more about it.
All right, third crit race. What'd you think?
It's awesome.
How many races have you done?
2.
2?
Yeah.
Is this number 2 or number 3?
This is number 2. Number 3 will be later.
Hey race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. Gateway Cup is a 4-day crit racing extravaganza in St. Louis, and I'm excited to race. So maybe not everybody knows this, but I grew up in St. Louis, so my folks still live here, so it's fun to come back for this race. And this particular trip, my family's with me, so that's awesome. And they're gonna actually come to my race, which is very rare, but they are. So excited for that. And here we are in Lafayette Park. It's really pretty, absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful old park. St. Louis has a lot of French history, so this area is steeped in that culture. Pretty cool. Alright, race fam, let's get going. I rolled up to the start line just a second late, but I made it. Woo! Alright, so we are racing in St. Louis, in this is Gateway Cup. So it's a 4-race series, as I mentioned before. This is the takeoff in Lafayette Square. And I gotta say, this is such a great race course, especially if you're relatively new or not super comfortable with crit racing. This is a great series to do because the roads are all just like this. They're just wide open. I've never raced the Monday race part of this series, so that course I cannot speak to, but Friday, you're seeing Friday right now, huge roads, very straightforward 90-degree turns, nothing tricky at all, and pancake flat. And then Saturday you're going to find largely the same stuff. So anyway, in this race I was still recovering from COVID, so my desire or ability to go up the road or do anything interesting is very, very limited. So I really need to play my cards close to the chest and not react to anything and just hang on to the sprint. Now, here's the deal with the footage, my friends. GoPro, if you've watched this channel, or probably any channel that uses GoPro, you will know that GoPro pretty much sucks at what they do, which is unfortunate because they are still the best at what they do, but they're not very good at it. So the camera overheated all 3 races. I didn't know that it was doing that until I was finished, and I didn't really diagnose the problem until I got home. Even though it's getting 25-mile-an-hour wind coursing through it, it's still overheating. I mean, it was hot in St. Louis, but it wasn't insane by any means, so frustrating. But the rear camera will get some of these last little moments, so hang on tight for that. And there's not a ton to report in this first race for sure, because it was a lot of this. Just hanging out in the pack, trying to stay in the top third of the race is really my focus. At almost any race, trying to stay in the top third of the race. Doesn't always work out, but that's what I'm always trying to do. To be able to react to any splits or moves that are significant enough that I need to pay attention to. Now I'm looking at this footage. Maybe I'm a little bit further back than top third here. And then thanks to my daughter, she caught some cool footage from around the race in different angles, so very exciting. And it's a very professionally run race. Like, it's really, really good. Pace cars, medical, neutral support, lots of fans, beer, food. It's a whole event. So if you're thinking about doing the Gateway Cup races, again, I would highly encourage that. So there you go. Here's the finish. You can see that's going to be Stages Cycling, then Carlos from Creative Blue, and then Ed Veal. I think Ed Veal got third like all weekend. And then I heard Ed Veal was doing like the Masters race, the second Masters race, and then the 2-3s race, and then the pro race. Nuts. All right, now let's get into day 2. Oh, by the way, in that Friday race, I got 9th place, which I was very happy with. So the way the sprint sort of unfolded was going into the last turn, I wish that I would have given it a little bit more power to get around a couple more folks. And I think if I would have done that and been more aggressive with that turn, and not toward other people, just ripping that turn at higher speed, I think I could have got a slightly better place. But oh well, I'm actually quite happy with 9th. So there was 34 people in that race Friday, and I got 9th, so happy with that. All right, now we're in Saturday. Saturday is a race in the hill. I'm sorry, no, that's not correct. It's St. Francis Park, which is where I spent a lot of time growing up. I grew up in St. Louis. My family lives there. A lot of friends lived right around this park, so I spent a lot of time in that park. And again, my daughter and son and wife were at this race, so I got a little bit of extra footage from around the corners, which is super fun to have. So very appreciative of that. All right, now the Saturday race is largely the same. Huge roads. There's a little bit of an incline on the back, but you can't even call it a hill. It's just like kind of a nothing burger. But a couple of little half-hearted attempts went up the road. I talked to Carlos after this race, and he was just like, I don't think I've ever been in a race where I didn't attack at some point. And I can confirm all the races I've done with Carlos, he's attacked at some point. But I don't think he did in this race, and not many people do. And the reason was because, honestly, Jaden was in this race, and he's racing for Methods to Winning with Sharon and a couple other riders. Like, so your prize, if you break away a solo or even with a small group, is that Jaden will hunt you down and take you back. So that's what you would win if you were to go on the attack early in the race. So that's okay. That's their cards, and they're playing them correctly. So a lot of this, again, the COVID thing was still affecting me. I felt a little bit better in today's race, although it wasn't until about the second half of the race that my body started to sort of turn on. So it's okay. We're going to do the same thing. The GoPro overheated. This is going into the last turn. I had explicit instructions to Jason Bernstein to cheer for me to make sure that I was in the top 5 going into the last turn, because it's a long straightaway before you get to the start finish at the Saturday race. I did not quite get that done. I think I went into that turn about 9th, and guess what I got? You're right, 9th again. So again, totally fine with that. The Saturday race had 34 people in it as well. Is that? Oh, I'm sorry. I might be on the wrong race. Oh, I'm on the wrong race. Saturday. Oh boy. No, I'm a mess. Bear with me, friends. I'm looking it up. The Saturday race, Sharon won this race. Ugh. And then Austin Edgar got second. Ed Veal again in third. And this race has an amazing vibe. And extra bonus, they redid the streets this year. So there's no potholes. There's no crosswalk paint. It is just awesome. So I'm looking forward to this. There is a pretty good hill on the backside that wears you down. The Saturday race was Sharon Smith got first, and Austin Edgar got second. Ed Veal got third. I got 12th, and just kind of gave up the sprint a little bit early. Maybe I could have gotten 10th if I would have kept my nose out there pounding those last few meters. But great hospitality. So Sunday's race is in an area called The Hill. An Italian part of town, just an unbelievable atmosphere. The neighborhood is fantastic. There's parties everywhere. It's a super unique neighborhood. If you're in St. Louis, absolutely visit the Hill, whether it's race time or not. It's fantastic. Amazing restaurants, amazing bars, amazing people. It's so fun. And like I said in that little intro spot, they redid all these roads. Oh, this was glorious. Absolutely glorious. And truthfully, they redid the roads because of this race. So an amazing outpouring of support from the area. So the Sunday race, let's see if we can find those. Yep, all right, got Sunday ready to go. So this race is slightly more technical. That turn there is the 4th turn, right? Yep, and then it's a kind of a long downhill into the start finish, which can be tough on the sprint because you're probably going to be spun out. So if you leave too early or start sprinting too early, you're definitely going to be spun out. You really need to find some shelter going into that final sprint. And I had varying degrees of success, but again, the front camera burned out, so we only have the rear camera to go with. And then there was a scary moment here, scary, but a slightly maybe frustrating moment about halfway through the race, or maybe even, it's probably closer to 2/3 through the race. After this move, so what you're watching here is I close this gap, I'm going to close another one up here, And this is the succession of events that led me into almost abandoning the race. So a little elbow flick here, and I'm going to try to close this gap as quickly as possible. Whether he comes with me or not, I don't care. I'm trying to close it as quickly as possible. All right, now we're going to start this lap. And again, this is like 2/3. I should have grabbed the lap counter. So this is me closing that. I think it was that gap. So if you're going to close a gap, try to do it by yourself, right? I don't want to give a free ride to everybody back there. I want them to suffer if I have to suffer. So that's what I did. And then on the back side, I'm going to pay the price. So as we're coming around turn 1, I'm going to skip ahead to turn 2. Just past turn 2, now we're going downhill and we're headed toward the uphill. And it is pretty hot today. But there's this little move, I don't know if you guys saw that guy shoot by, and I thought, well, I'm going to grab that. And I expelled more effort to grab that. And now I'm going to be out of gas. This is going to be challenging. So now we're hitting the hill right after I close the gap, and then close the gap. So I have 3 gap closings on me, and I'm gonna pay the price here. Sharon is in the same boat. He did basically the same thing I did on the other side and this side, so it's good to see it's not just me. And then I'm gonna fade all the way back to this group, and I was like, I don't think I got the power to keep going. But somehow, some way, I was able to grab the end of this train and then spend 2 laps on the very, very back, and then I finally started moving my way up. So now we're going to be in the last lap. This is going into turn 3, I believe. And so we got turn 3 and turn 4, and we're going to finish up on the rear camera. Yep, there's turn 3. And then now we're going downhill, and we're about to, halfway through this, we start going uphill. Tactically, same thing. I'm going to sit in. There's not a lot of tactics to report in this race, my friends. It's just survival for me. And interestingly, I had some of my best finishes because I didn't try to go attack. I didn't burn matches. I just tucked myself in. And in this race, I ended up getting 10th. And so this race, Jaden ended up going off the front with, I think, 4 to go. And then he maintained a lead of, like, looks like almost 9 seconds over Ed Veal. And then Ed brought the crew with him. So Ed Veal took 2nd, so won the field sprint. And then Donald Brew from DC Velo Racing got 3rd. Great race by everybody. And by the way, all the racing here, all the racers, everybody was great. There was no drama, no yelling at each other. Everybody was absolutely wonderful. So here we're going to go into the final turn. And like I said, it's, I'm sorry, not quite. There's turn 3. And now we're going to be heading into the final turn. Between 3 and 4, there's not much room to maneuver. You're pretty tight. And then turn 4 is also a little bit tight. Turn 3 is way tight, but turn 4 is a little bit tight, especially with that much speed. And now I do remember that I absolutely got a wheel. I'm trying to stay on that wheel till the last possible second and then start sprinting and go around. And I don't know if I think I make it around. I hope I make it around somebody. Did I make it around the wheel I was on? Yes, there's the wheel I was on. Make it around. And then, like I said, I ended up getting 10th in this race. So very happy with the weekend. Jump into Gateway Cup if you can. All right, race fam, that's a wrap on Gateway Cup for 2023. I am going to be heading home tomorrow. I had a blast. This is a great race. If you're thinking about shooting for one for the end of the season, this is definitely the one and only to think about for Labor Day weekend. Right in the middle of the country, so not far from anywhere. Come on down. We'll see you next year. Such a good race.